Good morning, cool cats. It's Noelle with Baker's Backyard Bounty, and today we are talking all things potatoes. Okay, so when growing potatoes, you can totally do this in your backyard. You can either put them in a garden bed, which that's what we're doing this year, or you can actually grow a substantial amount of potatoes in containers. So you've probably seen, if you're in the gardening world, kind of like those grow bags. They are like pliable, sometimes made out of like a felt-like material, sometimes made out of like a waxy plastic, but they fold down and open up. Some of them have flaps at the bottom of the bag, so actually you pull up this flap at the bottom of the bag and the potatoes fall out. There's all different kinds of options for growing potatoes, but really what I'm going to show you today is growing them in the ground. But if you don't have that space and you want to grow them in containers, just like Amazon, grow bags and see what comes up, what has good reviews, what will fit in your space, and let me know how it goes. So we talked about this with garlic when we planted out our garlic this year, but it's important that you order what we call seed potatoes. So these are potatoes that are meant to create plants and tubers, more potatoes. So when you go and get a potato at the grocery store, honestly, you could try it, like cutting it up, letting it sprout, putting it in the garden. Sometimes our produce is sprayed with things that prevent it from sprouting. So like these eyes on a potato, you've probably seen this because potatoes get lost on the counter in the pantry, but it sprouts. This is what we call an eye of the potato. So sometimes if you buy them at the grocery store and try it, you just won't get as big of a, I don't know if you call it a germination rate, but the potatoes won't grow I don't know, as fruitfully as if you get pure seed potato, which hasn't been sprayed with anything. Okay, so where do you source potatoes, seed potatoes? I have ordered them online through Hoss Tools, Hoss, Hoss Tools. They have some really fun varieties, like a homestead variety and a culinary variety. So you get some cool different mixes of like purple, blues, reds, yellow potatoes. We've called our local nursery here, which surprisingly did have seed potatoes. It's kind of a smaller nursery. That's what we did last year. But this year I went to Covington's. It's a well-known nursery in the area. I really love it. And they had some good varieties. So what we ordered was a Yukon Gold, which is just a straight up yellow potato. We grew them last year. They were so buttery, so good just on their own. So we wanted to do those again. We also got just a red potato. I'm not sure the specific variety, but we like roasting red potatoes for breakfast and also potato salad. And then this is a new one to us. It's called Purple Majesty. Right now, it just looks like a blah hunk, but that's because we cut it up. But the inside of it is this brilliant purple color and supposedly has a lot of antioxidants in it, kind of like blueberries. You can kind of tell what vitamins and minerals fruits and vegetables have based on their coloring. So I'm going to try some purple potatoes, some purple blueberry potatoes. That's not their scientific name. When you get your seed potatoes, so call your local nursery, order them online. When you get your seed potatoes, what you want to do is cut them into pieces. You're going to get like a big potato. Do not plant that whole big potato, okay? Because we want to maximize kind of our payoff on that potato. What you do is you cut it into pieces, making sure that each piece of potato, each hunk, has 2 eyes on it. And when you're looking for an eye, really it's like these little swirly doodads. Sometimes they're not as raised, but you can tell. It looks kind of like a belly button, for lack of a better description, on the potato. You want 2 of those on each piece that you cut. And these are what are actually going to sprout into a potato plant, which then flowers, which then sends out more tubers and grows potatoes under the ground. It's really cool, but this is what you want. So what I have here are just a bunch of pieces of that. Then you let them sit anywhere from 2 days to 2 weeks. I mean, it's not a hard and fast rule, but you want them to kind of like get a callus, like heal slightly. So they're not gonna rot, but you want the potato piece to heal before you put it in the ground. That way it just doesn't stay wet and soggy. So these are nice and dried out. You can tell they're not rotty. So these would be ready to pop in the ground. The girls helped Reed and I do this a few days ago. So I'll show you some cute little footage of them with their shovels, digging potatoes. They helped us cut them up. So we're really trying to engage them in the process. Potatoes are an awesome crop to plant with kids because there's multi-steps. Like you got to get the potato and cut it, let them heal, put them in the ground. So they really get into it. So if you want to get your kids in the garden, grow potatoes this year. It is glorious outside, but very, very cold. The sun is beautiful. Good morning. You guys just want some snacks. You guys chilly? Say hello. A little escape artist. So here we have our lettuce, some Swiss chard. This is our garlic bed, Brussels sprouts. But over here on our side is where we have our onions and potatoes. They've grown really well over here. So these are onions that went in. I'll do a little video on onions if you're interested. They last us for the whole year, so that's kind of groovy. And then down here, this hot mess, this is our potato section. So we grow our potatoes in rows, 2 foot apart, and we put our plants about, what would I say? Maybe a foot apart, each potato piece, about a foot apart, and put our rows 2 feet apart. So when you're digging a potato bed, this is how we do it. We dig a trench and we pile up the dirt on the sides of the trench. We then place the potatoes down the trench, covering up them lightly with dirt to make sure they're covered. And then we save the dirt on the sides of the trench, like all these mounds you see, so that over time, as the potato plant gets taller and bigger, we can mound dirt. So over the course of the growing season for potatoes, I think we harvested these at mid-June last year. Over the course of that growing season from about January to June, we are mounding dirt to make sure that the potatoes stay covered. You don't want the potatoes, as they grow out underneath the ground, to pop up and get exposed to the sun, because the sun actually will start to turn them green, and people say it's poisonous. I mean, you probably will not keel over if you eat a green potato, but it's not good for you. It's not good for our digestion to eat green potatoes. So you want to make sure that the potatoes don't get exposed to sunlight. So that's why you mound. Some people mound with like straw, mulch. We're doing dirt. We'll probably add some straw onto it eventually. But yeah, you just keep mounding and mounding and mounding in order to keep the potatoes covered and get a really good potato harvest. Okay, so for a visual, right here, we dug a nice long trench. We piled up the dirt on the sides. You can see we've got some good mounds on either side. I placed my potato hunks with the eyes facing up as most as possible. I guess, what did I say, a foot apart all the way down. And then over time, we'll just push this dirt over, mounding it up over our potatoes. So then we'll have a mound hill over the potatoes. Hang on, I'm gonna look at you. That will give us a really good harvest. We stored our potatoes. We have a garage fridge. And so we stored our potatoes out there, and they lasted a really good long time. We definitely decided we needed to grow more potatoes than we did last year. I think we did only 4 rows last year. It was our first year really growing them. And let's see, this year we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think we have 7 or 8 rows over there. So doubling, we're getting there, we're learning. Here on my green stalks, they're filled with strawberry plants right now. The weather's been so like up and down. They've started flowering, and I think next week we have like low 20 temps coming in. I just feel like the garden's, I'm confused. The garden's confused. This weather change stuff is kind of whack-a-tack, but that's okay. I'm really hoping to get a good strawberry harvest this season. I've had some sweet friends ask, like, we want a garden, what can we grow in containers? And I send always the link to a green stalk to them. I didn't know about these until I actually had a house, but when I lived in an apartment, I would have loved to have had one of these. I just didn't know. But the green stalk tower gardens, you can grow a lot of food in those. We've grown carrots, we've grown lettuce greens. Right now we have them reserved for strawberries because that's something that my kids really love and love to eat. But with the green stalk, yeah, you can just grow a great amount of food in a small amount of space. I would suggest if you do get a green stalk, go ahead and buy the spinner base at the bottom so you can rotate it with the sun. I didn't do that the first year I had them, and now that I do have them, it's a game changer. So I buy the wheels with the spinner base on the bottom so I can move them around easily and rotate them in the sun. But yeah, this year growing strawberries, I'm about to add some compost to that just to give them a boost of nutrients before the spring. And I don't have a coupon code or anything for green stalks, but I do highly recommend them. Okay, so last thing, you may be saying, oh yeah, I love potatoes, especially sweet potatoes. Yeah, in our family, we love sweet potatoes. However, they grow a little bit differently. So instead of buying a seed sweet potato, you can go to the grocery store, buy a sweet potato, cut it in half. I'll walk you through this process down the road. It's not time for sweet potatoes, moral of the story. You grow little slips off of the sweet potato and plant those later. Sweet potatoes, I believe they're similar to the morning glory family. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. I don't want to lie to anybody. But they love the heat. Heat is what they need. So just hold tight if you love sweet potatoes. Those don't happen quite yet. But I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions at all, just comment below. Let me know the varieties that you're growing and any tips or tricks that you may have that would help us out. All right, may you find the bounty in your own life, all the beauty that it holds, and we will see you soon.